Hi, my name is Kelsey Atkinson, and I'm a staff attorney with Neighborhood Legal Services Consumer Debt and Bankruptcy Team. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Michael Massman. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well, Kelsey. How about you?
I'm doing all right. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about your bankruptcy meeting of creditors. So, to start us off, could you talk a little bit about what the meeting of creditors is?
Yeah, the meeting of creditors is a meeting organized by a trustee who's assigned to you in a Chapter 7 case. And it's an opportunity for the trustee to review your documents, put you under oath, and ask you some questions about those documents. It's also an opportunity for creditors to appear and perhaps ask a few questions themselves.
So, the meeting of creditors happens after you file your bankruptcy petition. How do you find out about the meeting?
Yeah, that's correct. So the first thing you do in a bankruptcy is, other than preparing the schedules, is file the schedules. And right after that, a trustee is assigned. And the trustee will reach out to you via email, and the email will let you know how you can appear at your meeting of the creditors and what kind of information you need to supply to the trustee. So here in the Central District, the meetings of the creditors are done remotely via Zoom, and you have to appear on camera. Other districts may be different. I can't speak to those. We practice in the Central District of California.
Yeah, the appearing over Zoom is actually a new thing in the Central District. So you used to be able to attend your meeting of creditors in person, but that changed, I think, a little over a year ago now. So any materials you may see online saying that you can go to specific buildings to attend your meeting of creditors in person are out of date at this point. So be sure to watch out for that Zoom link and email from the trustee. I wanted to also follow up, Michael. So you said the trustee is going to send you an email asking for documents. What kind of documents?
Yeah, the trustee is going to want to see generally tax returns for the last 2 years. They're going to want to see a photo identification from the government that proves who you actually are. And they may ask for other financial documents depending on your circumstances. They're going to list them all in the email that's sent to you and also tell you how you can deliver them. Typically, they request that you upload them to a website.
So you get the email from the trustee, you upload your documents, and you prepare to go to your meeting of creditors on the assigned date by logging into the Zoom meeting with your camera on. What tends to happen at this meeting of creditors?
So usually it's pretty straightforward. There's going to be more than one person at the meeting of creditors. There's going to be 10 or more individual debtors there. And the trustee calls them up one by one. And so because there are multiple debtors there, your time on the Zoom call might be a little while, but your time talking to the trustee might be 10 minutes or less, actually. So the trustee is going to have reviewed your bankruptcy filings and reviewed the financial documents that you sent in, and they're going to put you under oath and ask you some questions. And a lot of times those are just clarity. They're just clarifying things. And it's definitely nerve wracking for people to go to a hearing like this, to be put under oath. But if you are straightforward on your bankruptcy filings and straightforward and honest in your answers, then there shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And so this is called a meeting of creditors. Can creditors show up?
Absolutely. It's rare. We don't see it that much. For example, if you're filing primarily to discharge credit card debt and you only have credit card debt, it's highly unlikely that you're going to see somebody from one of the credit card companies there. Unless maybe you went to a casino the night before filing and gambled a bunch of money, which could be a problem. Uh, More what we see is something really personal, like perhaps perhaps a landlord that doesn't want to let go of the debt that might be owed.
That sounds like it could be stressful, but what you're saying is, for the most part, it's very rare that a creditor is going to come to a simple Chapter 7 meeting of creditors.
It is very rare. It's possible. And if they do show up, they'll be allowed to ask questions for a little while. The trustee will permit that, but it's not really the forum for them to really get into that a ton. So the trustee will generally cut them off after a bit. So if a creditor does show up at your 341A, it's an indication that they have a problem with your bankruptcy for sure, or likely.
And, most people are going to get their notice of the meeting of creditors, submit their documents, and appear at the Zoom meeting. But what about for folks that aren't available on the date of their assigned meeting or can't get their documentation in time?
Yeah, they should reach out to the trustee as soon as possible. So you have to deliver that documentation 14 days before the first meeting of the creditors. And it'll say that in the email. And if you're having any problem with that, you should reach out to the trustee and or come down to the self-help center to talk to us about it. So one example that people might encounter is they don't have tax returns because they haven't gotten around to filing their tax returns yet. Well, there may be an option to submit a declaration under penalty of perjury about that, but you don't necessarily know that, and it's not really the trustee's job to help you with that. So if you're not sure, if you don't have the documents, you don't know what to do, or you can't make it, reach out to either the self-help center or the trustee, and we'll do our best to help you.
Right. It's really important to just be as honest and forthcoming as possible. This is true with your petition documents, and it's true when you're dealing with the trustee. So just be upfront with the trustee and communicate if you need an extension or a continuance. And so for folks that everything goes well and they go to their meeting of creditors, what happens after that?
For a lot of people, not much. The bulk of the work that people do in filing bankruptcy is done before filing by preparing the schedules and researching all of their financial information. You may, if you're reaffirming a debt on a car, for a lot of people who have financed their car purchase, they need to do that. You may have a hearing for that. But oftentimes, other than that, there's not much to do other than complete your financial management course, which is required, and wait for the discharge.
Right. And that financial management course is really important. This is a course that's completed online, just like the credit counseling course that you take before you file your bankruptcy petition. And you need to obtain a certificate of completion and file that with the court. If you don't file the financial management certificate with the court, despite you going through the entire process to get your bankruptcy petition on file and go to your meeting of creditors, you could end up with your case dismissed instead of getting a discharge. So it's really important to not forget that final important step.
Absolutely. You want to be checking your case all the time, making sure you do everything. But yeah, that's a very important thing to do after your meeting of the creditors.
So anything else to add about meeting of creditors, Michael?
No, just deep breaths. Meetings are always, or hearings are always challenging and nerve-wracking. So deep breaths and be honest, and you should be fine.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.